An established group of black filmmakers and producers is taking bold steps to get their movies to the big screen. Joining me are some of these filmmakers. Tanya Hamilton, whose film Night Catches Us stars Anthony Mackie and Kerry Washington. Qasim Basir, writer and director of Muslim, an independent film starring Evan Ross and Nia Long. And Gabrielle Glore, executive producer of Urban World Film Festival. Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
There's a lot of talk right now about black filmmakers and about black cinema. You know, some say this is a high moment, some say that this is a low moment. What do you all make of what's going on right now with black film?
I think we're at a great place right now, given the accessibility to our audience, which we did not have before. A large issue with getting films out is marketing, and you have to market your film. And 10 years ago, you could only market your film through billboards, through trailers, through posters on the train, stuff like that. Nowadays, you can literally get to anyone online, and that's huge. The social marketing thing is huge. We've used it for our film, Facebook, Twitter, the whole nine, and I think it's going to be a game changer, and it already has been.
What are you guys doing? Why is Jason acting so crazy?
We're getting revenge.
Revenge on who?
The terrorists.
There are no terrorists here. Who are you talking about?
Talking about them.
You honestly think you can come into my country and kill my people and get away with it?
Are more people interested in black film now than before?
I don't know that more people are interested than before. I mean, I think that more of the films are kind of getting to people,
yeah.
and I think there's more conversation about these films. So I think that, I think that the audience is there, and I think it's sort of, maybe in a way, I think it's allowing itself to be heard.
You, of all people, lecturing me on commitment. Where you been, Marcus? All this time. Where did you go? It must be nice to just come in and out, pack only what you can take in that little black bag of yours. If you want to have a say about how things go around here, that's available, but you have to stay.
One of the reasons why people are, I think, recognizing that black people go to films again is because of the success of people like Tyler Perry, for example. His films have brought a whole new audience to the theaters. Is it really surprising to the world that black people go to movies?
I don't know how it can be surprising. I mean, I think there's so much research that shows that disproportionately black audiences of color in urban communities and outside of urban communities are definitely theater goers. They're film enthusiasts. They're regularly going to the movies to see films. It's just, what films are they going to see?
25% of people that go to films are African American. That makes up the 25% of the theatrical film market, and that's to see all kinds of movies.
So then why aren't there more of us in the movies? This baffles me, and I know you all can answer this question. I mean, if so many black people are going to the movies, why aren't we represented there the same way we are in sports or other aspects of entertainment?
I think movies are hard to make, period, kind of across the board for everybody, but I think that there's a dollar trail. And I think the key really ends up being distribution, and how do you reach a lot of people? How do you get them talking about your film? And there's also something else. I think it's, how do you re-educate people in a way to kind of watch different kinds of films?
Those are two really important points, and I want to touch on both of them. The first one you mentioned is this idea of distribution and getting studios to recognize the value of black film and black audiences. If we go to the theater, why don't they see that? Why aren't they pouncing on this the same way they do, say, hip-hop music, or the same way they do football players or basketball players? Yeah.
But one thing I'd just like to say is, you said getting studios to recognize the value of black film, and that's one way to go. But I think it's also, how do filmmakers individually and collectively empower themselves so we don't have to rely on studios, so that we're creating our own innovative distribution models that are sustainable in the marketplace, that allow our films to reach our audiences and tell our stories. So I think it's getting people to think outside of the traditional parameters and constraints, oftentimes, that studios will put on our content when it goes through their controls, their vehicles, in order to hit the marketplace.
What do you say to those folk, and there are plenty out there who will say, black folk don't want sophisticated content. The reason why a movie like Big Mama's House will be successful, you know, with Martin Lawrence, or the reason why a Medea film will be successful is because that's the kind of stuff that black people want to see. When it comes to black audiences, they want something very particular, and independent filmmakers don't have it.
I think people want to see reflections of themselves, and I think that, you know, people want to participate in the rest of the world and talk about politics and culture and religion and all the things that, you know, affect us in our daily lives.
Yeah.
I just think it has to be put out there, and it has to be packaged in a way that it is accessible.
I know part of what you do, Gabrielle, is create space for artists to have their films shown and to have wider audiences get access to them. How do we get over this hump? How do we get the masses to recognize the value of independent films?
One of the things that Urban World is doing is we're part of a movement called Affirm.
Yeah.
Affirm is the African American Film Festival releasing movement, founded by Ava DuVernay, and essentially it is a new distribution model. Essentially, AMC Independent is going to, on March 11th, open a film that'll be the pilot of this new program.
I'm first generation.
Clearly.
I'm what would be termed an OG.
Was that the OG what?
And we'll have national publicity happening. We'll have local publicity. So in 5 markets, New York, LA, Seattle, Atlanta, Philadelphia, they've identified a film festival who will be that on-the-ground grassroots movement and really drive awareness, really drive promotion, and set this up so that people can see that when you have a film that's in theaters, you're going to get that national exposure. So you're going to have Sally Richardson Whitfield, who's the star of this show, you know, doing national publicity, whether it's on the Rachel Ray show, whether it's on the Tom Joyner show, really driving that mass awareness.
Is there a particular responsibility that you all feel as black independent filmmakers to make black films? I mean, what if you all one day want to just write something about 13th century England, you know, and shoot that? Do you feel like you're, you know, betraying your calling or your opportunity as black filmmakers?
I wouldn't. I mean, I make films about what's important to me. I feel as a filmmaker, yes, it is my responsibility to put content out there, because movies since the beginning of their existence has shaped the view of people on societies and of cultures, you know, and have had so much impact on life in general. And I feel, yes, as a filmmaker, I do have a responsibility to make content that says something.
Tanya Hamilton, Qasim Basir, Gabrielle Galore, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, a unique dentist who's improving the lives of low-income residents. Stay with us.
It's so enriching when you give back, when you give from the heart, and you see the experiences that come out of that.
Welcome back. Once a year, this Michigan dentist donates his services to improve the dental hygiene of people who can't afford it. Dr. James Lee is our slice of life. From the mountaintop of his office, this young dentist is providing Michigan residents with services that are free at last.
When I think about Dr. King's vision, and I look at the continuum of his work and how we try to embody that here, there's always going to be the less fortunate among you, and you try to address, you know, that need.
The need that Dr. James Lee refers to is being met every year when he offers free dental care on Martin Luther King's birthday.
I started my practice in 1998 in the summer. So in that first Martin Luther King Day, there was a family that had some needs in my office, and I knew they couldn't afford them. So I just said, well, come by on Martin Luther King Day, I'll come in. So it kind of grew from one family. And I said, you know, again, as a dentist, what is the best way I can give back? And the best way I can give back is with what I'm trained to do.
He said when he accepted his diploma and walked across that stage that he was never going to leave anybody in discomfort. And that statement was the honest truth. He's never left anybody in discomfort.
From humble beginnings, this doctor is no stranger to the African proverb, it takes a whole village.
The community has, through my entire life, supported me and helped me to get through some challenging times. And so part of what I like to do here is just making a thank you back to people, because I have been able to be successful as a dentist. Isn't that so special? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time to come in. I know you're busy. It's so enriching when you give back, when you give from the heart and you see the experiences that come out of that.
Giving is something this doctor does freely, without hesitation or reservation.
Dr. Lee's office, they didn't turn me away at the door. You almost become extended family, and they treat you that way.
What we, I think, can do as dentists is recognize that, you know, something we can do in a few minutes really makes a big difference in someone's life.
I think he's a role model by letting his feelings and his love for people be the important thing.
We have a few thousand patients that consider us, you know, their dentists, and that's an honor and a privilege. And so I just say, this is a way of giving back and saying thank you to all those people.
And we'll be right back.